You've got a friend in Curly. Finally, Curly, a statement, guys. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the show, guys. This is the Locks Report. I am the narrative, everybody. This is an unsanctioned broadcast. All opinions, guys, you know this, in this segment are those of my own, the narrative, and no one else, guys. We finally got a statement from the franchise club on the whole OC story. Now, it took about a week. I don't know if these guys were running damage control. We've seen it the whole week. They've been running damage control. And Dirk Diggler, shout out to the new Darth Diggler, was able to get a statement out of our good friend Happy Meal. Now, I will give credit to Doc's report. Look, we give credit where credit is due, Docs. This was on Doc's show. I think Doc's show is still going on. But I'm here to report you guys the news. This is the news business, the only game in town in the Archieverse for the juicy stories, guys, here at the Locks Report. Now, I'm going to show you guys here on the screen Curly's statement on behalf of the franchise club. So our good friend, as I mentioned, Darth Diggler, now known as Darth Diggler, basically asking Happy Meal directly, saying, what I want to know is the official statement from the franchise club/clubs around the OC story. So Curly, Happy Meal, also known as Happy Meal, for those that don't know, Curly Q2, also known as Happy Meal, also known as Send Money Now, also known as whatever the fuck his name is today, responds saying, we do have a statement from the franchise club. Now, guys, understand the franchise club is not just Curly. There are many folks in the franchise club, so I'm assuming here that Curly is speaking on behalf of Toyota Mo, speaking on behalf of Paz, speaking on behalf of OC, whoever is part of this executive board. Now, we don't necessarily know who's in the executive board, but there are other people besides our good friend Curly on that executive board at the franchise club. But Curly does give a official statement on behalf of the franchise club and says, I have a statement for you, Dirk, on this whole OC situation. And the statement is whatever. Now, this isn't surprising, from Curly, from the franchise club, the Fries Club, we call them here, a group that, is known to cheat, known to, buy bots and fake views. I mean, the chat, like, there's nobody in the chat even. We all know this. Anybody who's ever seen a Fries Club show in the recent couple of weeks, recent couple of months, is just seen that essentially it looks pretty fake over there, right? I'm going to use the word fake. Fake viewers, bots, all this shit, right? So I'm not surprised if his statement is just, it's whatever if there's counterfeits in the community, whatever, right? I mean, look, Curly's not a watch collector, doesn't understand that in the watch collecting sphere, counterfeits are just not something that watch collectors want around the community at all. Full stop. I've been collecting for a long time, and outside of counterfeit groups, real watch collectors do not want that around. And unfortunately, Curly and the franchise club simply just don't care. And look, is this surprising to anybody? It's not surprising to me. There are many characters that are associated with the Colony, OC, franchise club that have had these kind of blemishes on their records in the past. I mean, Diego, we all know that story, and others, right? So I'm not surprised by their kind of deflection, indifference. They already accept this kind of shit anyways. So we did, we've been asking Curly for literally a week to say, hey, like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, if this was any other channel, you would have been all over this. But your statement today is whatever. Now, I guess it's kind of a product of where we are today, right? With Curly having to fake views and, buy bots to just, for whatever reason, right? He somehow thinks that the Nielsen ratings really makes any difference on who watches his show. Most of the Archieverse has abandoned Curly because honestly, watching Tim O'Sheen content for 12 hours a day is kind of fucking boring, right? You're elongating a 2-hour show into 12 hours. I mean, Dirk Diggler said, he prefers the Locks Report as his source of news because we give it to you in 10 minutes or less, guys. And we do have news here with the franchise club simply continuing its indifference around this, not caring that there was a counterfeit violation in the community associated to somebody who actually watches their show. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you guys here. This is a recently deleted post off the original OC's Instagram where he originally was transparent with the community, letting the community know that his channel was removed off YouTube for counterfeit policy violations. And, essentially his sounding board, his group over here, the franchise echo chamber, we'll call it, um, is simply trying to sweep it under the rug, trying to act like it's not a big deal. And look, I'm going to call this out all day long. I do not want counterfeits associated with our community. I think it is absolutely fucked for that to be part of our community. And if you're in this executive board that's signing off on this statement, I'm going to call y'all out too. Because, if your guys are watch collectors, why the hell would you allow this kind of stupidity in our community? So if Curly is speaking on behalf of the franchise club, it seems like he's saying that here. I can't confirm whether the other folks on the quote-unquote executive board, if there is an executive board, nobody really knows, are agreeing with Curly here. We haven't really heard statements from other folks. All we've seen from Curly all week has been deflection, right? Where people have asked him questions and he doesn't really respond to the question. And Curly, it was fun. I don't know if you guys ever saw the show that Angelic did a few days ago, where somebody asked Tommy, like, why is Curly doing this? Like, why is he so up OC's ass, in defending this and simply kind of sweeping under the rug? And Tommy, he pointed out, he said, look, in Curly's eyes, OC has been, quote unquote, the only person that's been loyal to him throughout, I guess, all of history, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, OC was the one who struck Curly and Watch Nicholas back in the day when it took Watch Nicholas's, stream down for copyright, copyright violations and whatnot. Like, I mean, I don't really know what Curly's on about loyalty. What I will speak about loyalty was Archie and how loyal that guy was to Curly. Pretty much let Curly, do whatever the hell he wanted on his channel. Gave Curly a platform where Curly actually built a lot of, what he does today from. And only when Curly started sabotaging Lux, him and Mookie started getting into a beef with Lux. Curly started sabotaging Lux's show, removed his StreamYard keys, and started fucking around. Did, both Archie and myself step in saying, hey, look, man, we've been cool with you. We've supported you throughout, but this is just way across the line. You're fucking with our money. And look, I think that's where, Curly doesn't like to be told no. And I guess OC just hasn't said no to him yet. But, if Curly's trying to go down the route of loyalty, like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? That like a guy like Archie hasn't had your back forever. And this is kind of the way you treat the guy. But that's just how it is, right? Is just, typical Curly. And it's funny, we got Curly in the chat here, the fake news narrative. Look, Curly, I mean, I think you need to stay away from the word fake, bro, because I think you're associated a little too much, Curly, with somebody who, like I said, and I've showed you guys here, who was taken down for counterfeit. So Curly, I mean, you may want to use that word fake a little bit more sparingly because, again, in your mind, it's all about, whatever. Let's just sweep it under the rug and all this other stuff. Now, the interesting thing is Curly tried to then, he tried to lower the tensions. He tried to tell docs that, like, this kind of stuff happens all the time. It happened to Tim Wright's channel with the old UK Watch Community channel. Now, the difference with that is, the UK Watch Community channel was taken down because it was, somebody had put in a complaint that it was, quote unquote, impersonating another channel. Like, if, for example, if you see the name franchise clubs, if somebody who wasn't associated with the franchise clubs created a channel called the franchise club, in similar type of icons and stuff, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you could file a complaint to take down, the channel for impersonating. That is completely different than what this looks like right here, which is a counterfeit policy violation. And many of us have called this out in that, okay, you have a violation on one video, it's going to take the video down. There's likely multiple violations happening here. And look, the franchise club simply is trying to sweep this under the rug. They're trying to, just play it down that this isn't that important. Counterfeits are not that important in our community. And look, guys, I'm going to call this out all day long. Curly's not a watch collector, doesn't know fuck all about watches, and honestly doesn't know fuck all about trolling, man. But look, you want to give us content all the time, Curly, we're happy to take it. We got a super chat here from GD. We don't peso shame here. We love the Argentinian pesos. We got 100 from GD. Loving that red meat. Wants it now. I'm giving you that red meat right now for you there, GD. But look, I'm sure Curly's going to run a fucking 8-hour show crying and complaining. But look, the way I see it, Curly is part of the problem. he is simply being complicit to all of this. And the whole franchise club executive board is simply saying, yeah, counterfeits in our community, whatever. All right, folks, this was the Locks Report. I'm the narrative. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. And Curly, don't raise your blood pressure, bro. It's all fun and games. Take care.